The first question we've had is the hybrid workplace has been accelerated due to COVID-19. What are your opinions on increased flexibility of the workspace, and what do you think is feasible in the long run, Tracy?
Well, Michael, I think one of the things that is so empowering right now is two things that are impacting this. Number one, there's an incredible talent shortage at the moment. So I think there's a scramble for talent. So that's putting more pressure on the folks that manage corporate real estate to just really create, I think the key component of this is choice. And how do you provide true choice to an employee? I look at it in the context that, where we shift the lens as we look at employees. It's an odd term. Sometimes in our industry, we refer to these employees as end users, which have all this really not so positive connotations. But if we look at them as consumers, and now within the ecosystem of work, consumers have a choice. For some, home works. For others, co-working spaces work. How are we really positioning corporate real estate as a place of choice from a product standpoint? So I think there's a lot of work to be done. It's always not about heroic efforts. Sometimes it's the micro adjustments. It's like, how do we think about things like intimacy? How do we think about connectivity? How do we think about their ability to make things work once they get there? And how do you position the best product possible that consumer is going to choose to show up to?
Yeah, I think we're seeing a lot from our customers and potential customers we're talking to, really wanting to change the workplace, right? Like that. But before, I think the really interesting part for me personally, forget the Metricus side of things, but for me personally is a lot of people now, because they've been able to work from home or work somewhere else, whether it's their home, their parents' house, or another space, going back to an office that was maybe overcrowded or hadn't been refurbished for a long time, people are all of a sudden like, I don't want to go back to that place. And there are a lot of people we're talking to, or you're seeing lots of things in the press about people taking the time to actually look at their space and how it works for the people in their space. I don't think that's ever been done before in my working career, and it's been forced upon businesses. Some have taken it in their stride, and some are like, shit, we have to actually do this now. But I think there is this bell. I think there is this bell curve, Michael. I think there's this people at the one end of it that are really like, man, we're going to just completely revamp this. We're going to provide a much different product to the consumer. There's people in the middle that are thinking about it, maybe on the fence trying to do. And there's some folks that are just waiting this out, saying, you know what, they'll come back. And I think those people are going to be really shocked when they realize that talent that they then now can attract with that. I mean, the office was really an integral part of that recruitment and retention equation. And they're going to realize that, hey, that may not play moving forward. They're going to have to kind of move over to the other side of the curve to really attract some new talent. Yeah,
I think it's probably.
Yeah,
sorry. I was going to say, probably particularly true, I suppose, for a stock standard company, for a lack of a better term, I suppose. I think there's always going to be those top level employers, and Goldman Sachs is the obvious one to point out, where they've gone out and said, or at least made clear, their lack of intent for a hybrid future. But they've got a certain prestige or a salary incentive or whatever you want to class what they have as special. And sort of a stock standard company is definitely going to have to offer that hybrid and that flexibility for retention and attraction of talent, you'd think.